Hey everyone, this is Ben from Nutshell, and I'm here today with one of my favorite sources of sales wisdom and a legend in the sales coaching game, Ryan Dohrn. Ryan is an acclaimed motivational sales speaker. He's the author of the best-selling ad sales book, Selling Backwards. He's also the CEO and founder of Brainswell Media, which is a sales training and coaching firm, as well as the owner and publisher of SalesTrainingWorld.com. I could go on and on with his accolades, but I'll stop right there. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me, Ryan.
Yeah, Ben, it's great. And you guys, big shout out to you and the team for all the cool things you're doing over at Nutshell for all of your customers as well. So kudos to you for taking care of folks. Glad to be here, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So today I wanted to talk about a very common objection in sales, maybe one of the most common, and how to beat it. And the objection is, I have no budget, or my budget for the year is already spent. So let's go through this, Ryan. When a prospect tells you, I have no budget, what are they really telling you?
Yeah, I think the first thing to recognize as a salesperson is that most people don't mind buying things. Most people just don't like being sold.
Right.
So if we think about that, as we're talking with people, people's first reaction when we're trying to sell them basically anything is they're typically going to throw some objection up in front of us. So one of the things that I like to do is really make sure, hey, is this really the objection, or is this really not the objection? So objection handling really is, Ben, is one part courage, being able to say, hey, I'm willing to accept this and work with it. And also it's one part knowledge, having the knowledge. A lot of that comes from practice. So what I like to do when I'm working with people through this objection is most people want to save time. Most people want to save money. Most people want to make money. So if someone throws that objection out in front of me, one of the first things that I'll do is say something along the lines of, well, what if my idea, or in your case, it might be a product. What if my idea or what if my product could save you time, could save you money, or actually help make you money? Mm-hmm. Now, one of the worst things you can do, in my opinion, is say, okay, well, when's a good time to call you back, or when will you have budget? And that's trained by a lot of people. And I disagree with that. Instead, I'd rather try to pivot the conversation or refocus the conversation on, something that I can help them with. Maybe I could save you time. Maybe I could save you money. Maybe I can help make you money. Is that something you'd be interested in hearing about? Most people can't resist that, because if they said, no, I don't want to save time. No, I don't want to make money. No, I don't want to save money. That kind of makes them seem not real bright. So I think typically they'll say, okay, fine. What is it? What do you got? What do you got?
Right. Okay, so just pushing through that first roadblock and sort of bringing up your value first, because sometimes they're just trying to shrug you off. Right.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes people will be very bold and they'll just say, well, what about so-and-so? So say you've got a client that is a competitor of theirs that's using your product. Mm-hmm. You can sometimes bring up one of that person's competitors or a business peer to try to prove that there's other people that are out there using your product or service that are having some great success as well. So I think there's a bunch of different ways to pivot it. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, one of the fastest the ways to do it is not to really be as much a cold calling machine, but to be somebody that's a little bit more researched before I'm reaching out to my 20 people for the day. Knowing other people that are using our product that might be like-minded people. Maybe you're in a business where competition is pretty fierce. And so maybe your product, service, whatever, would give them a leg up over their competition. Or maybe you're in a non-competitive field where multiple people use the same product. You could say, when they say, I have no budget, well, what about John Doe? They're going to say, well, what about John Doe? Well, John Doe's been using our product for X period of time. They love us for these 5 reasons. And that helps success stories really help sell.
Now, I've heard you talk about
budget.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about this objection before, and you do something called dead ending, which is it was sort of leaving open-ended statements at the end of your proposition. Now, tell me what's dead ending and why is it important?
It's dead ending is essentially making a statement or asking something and being willing to accept the silence that will potentially come after that. And so, for example, if someone said to me, I have no budget for let me give you a real perfect example of one of the software products that I sell. If I called them up and I said, hey, it's Ryan Dohrn, calling from such and such. Hey, listen, man, I have no budget for anything. I would maybe say, well, what about John Doe? And there's dead silence there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to be willing, because most salespeople hate silence. I've got to be willing to basically just let dead air work. Right. And then typically they'll say, what about them? Well, they've been using our product for the last year and they love this and they love this. And I think you guys will too. I'd love to chat with you about it. But maybe they don't have any budget. They might say, Ryan, seriously, I have no budget. Mm-hmm. And then you've got to, sometimes I just believe people, sometimes they don't. But dead ending allows you to ask a question and you've got to be willing to wait the time required for someone to process and then give you back a reply. Most salespeople can't do it, because if you ask most salespeople like me to be silent for more than about 10 seconds, right, our ears start to ring, Ben.
It's uncomfortable for everybody.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So you mentioned, sometimes they're trying to convince you, like, look, Ryan, I really don't have a budget. This is not an excuse I'm giving you. I mean, what's the way to sort of stick in their minds? Like, if that's true and you believe them, is there a way to beat that? Is there a way to sort of stay on their radar, or I don't know, prove that you're some sort of trusted advisor? So maybe when they do have a budget, they'll come back to you. Like, how do you approach that scenario?
Yeah, I think there could be two sides to this, and you might need like an objection cheat sheet. I mean, you might need like a cheat sheet. Like I've got here, pretty much for one of the media companies that I run, I've got an objection cheat sheet. So there's not an objection that someone could give me that I wouldn't have written down so that it's always, kind of top of mind to me. And so what I oftentimes will say then, hey, I really respect that you don't have budget right now. But what I'd love to do is give you the information so that when you do have the budget, you won't have to research. You're already going to have all this information in front of you. Could I have the opportunity to at least get this information in front of you and keep you in the loop on what we're doing and what's going on? Mm-hmm. I would say the vast majority of people, you move from a sales role to more of a consulting role at that point. You're just trying to keep them in the loop. And most people are pretty cool with that. Now, although, Ben, what a lot of people do is they then let the person off the phone. I wouldn't probably do that. I would either try to give them some information at that point in time, send it through via email, or set up a time to do a demo, or set up a time to give them this information. Because if you just email it to them, what's going to happen is you lose control of that conversation. They're probably not going to read it. Now, a video would be better. I mean, if you could get on a video chat like we're doing now, mm-hmm, or if you could record a promo video or something like that. If you can't work with somebody live, then GoToMeeting or whatever you're using is a great way to do it. Google Hangout, or record some type of video that you can send to them. Whether you're using like Loom, Loom on Chrome, or you're just recording a video with, your Mac, whatever it is, videos actually work pretty well too.
Why do you think that is? Why is it important to make that connection face to face?
I just have seen over the course of time. So I've been in the sales business, sales and marketing for like 28 years. I have just seen that I always do better face to face. But what I've also found is that in today's environment, most people, when you book a meeting with them, most people are sort of expecting some type of meeting link. They're kind of expecting you to share. So say you're like me, you're 46, you're a sales rep out there, and you're over the age of 40. I think it's important to recognize that whenever you're working with a buyer that's potentially younger than you, especially if they're significantly younger than you, they expect you to use technology during the sales process. They're expecting it. So if you're one of those old school salespeople out there that doesn't like, well, I don't like Zoom, or I don't like to text my clients. The 90s are calling. They want you back. You got to step up your game. But now videos, the reason I love videos, just like we're doing today, is because a lot of times people don't want to talk to a sales rep, but they will watch a video. So I love videos in the sales process. And maybe that's something we could talk about at another time, because videos in the sales process, in my opinion, it's really important. Very, very important.
That's a great extra tip. I appreciate that, Ryan. That's all I have. Thank you for your time. If people want to learn more of your pro tips, where should they go?
Yeah, I think there's two things. Go to salestrainingworld.com. And if you're one of those people that loves podcasts, over on iTunes, search for Ryan Dohrn, Dohrn, or check out the Sales Training World podcast. But thanks, Ben. Appreciate the time, man.
Of course. And quick plug, Ryan will also be appearing, being as one of the headliners at our Boundless virtual event on Friday, February 22nd, discussing how to host sales calls that close more business. Follow the link in the description to register. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more, and see you next time, folks.